Good evening, Sean.
Evening, Paul. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad, yeah. So, for anyone who's watching, Sean's one of Jeff the Chef mates, comes highly recommended. And let's start as we mean to go on. Tell me about the first time you ever took ecstasy.
The first time I took ecstasy, well, I'll tell you the background of it, how it happened. I used to knock around with all the Leeds football lads, like the
Yeah,
hooligans and that sort of thing. Every every bank holiday would ascend on Blackpool.
yeah,
All of Leeds would go to Blackpool, all the football lads anyway, you know what I mean? And its entourage would go to Blackpool. And this was all the August bank holiday 1988. Um, And we'd always taken speed and, well, not always taken, but we'd taken speed and acid. That's about what, as much as we'd had, really,
yeah,
drugs wise. We met some birds from Wigan,
yeah,
and these birds, we got talking to them, and they said, "Oh, we can get ecstasy." They said, "We can bring some over to Leeds next week if you want." So with me and my mate Gooey, Gooey used to ended up being a bit of a dealer in Hacienda. Um, we told them to bring them over to us. So bring us a pill each. They said they're 25 quid.
yeah,
And it was one Saturday night about a week later. So that must have been probably that, yeah, first week in September, 88.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so we had this pill, me and my mate, in a pub in Leeds. It wasn't a nightclub or anything like that. It was just in a pub downstairs in a pub called the George. It was just full of all the Leeds lads, the football lads. Me and my mate Gouldy dropped this pill. Didn't think much, didn't expect much out of it really. We just knew it was 25 quid, so it must be half decent.
yeah,
So next thing, we waited about 20 minutes, half an hour, no, it happened. Then next thing, me and my mate looked at each other and we just went, "Are you feeling what I'm feeling?" And we ran to the toilets and we was just had his hands like that. And we was just like unconscious, we was just like euphoric. I
yeah,
mean, we was just in a pub in middle of Leeds,
yeah,
euphoric. And we ended up walking out the pub and we just had his hands in the air. And all these other lads were with us, these older lads that we knocked around with. They were saying, "What you have?" And we just had his hands in air and we were just going, "It's fucking unbelievable. You've never had anything like it in your life." And they were all pissing themselves around these lads. It was about, I
yeah,
don't know, 10-minute walk down to warehouse nightclub where we used to go. And
yeah,
we just walked down there and we was just off our tits. It was just the best feeling that I've ever had in my life. It was just like a firework exploding inside you, really. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then we went in the warehouse and we danced. Me and my mate danced, and we'd never really danced before. We danced on the stage in the warehouse, and that was it. Then so we told them the next week, the week after, "Can you bring us some more?" So it says, so they brought us again. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we had an E in the warehouse in Leeds every week.
What was the warehouse like? Did it play house music or was it just
It
a,
did. It was the venue and everything was fantastic. It was like probably a lot smaller than Hacienda, but like an old warehouse, like a New
yeah,
York style warehouse. They
yeah,
played a lot of soul. It was more of a black crowd. So they played a lot of soul. So the thing is, we were dancing to, I mean, he'd have like an hour of house music. And
yeah,
then it wasn't catering for the ecstasy crowd because it hadn't happened by then.
yeah,
So you'd come down a bit. So they'd be playing Luther, they'd play Humanoid by Stackett or something like that. And
yeah,
then 10 minutes later, they'd be playing Luther Vandross.
yeah,
And we used to complain. We used to go up to the DJ booth and say, "Play some ecstasy music." And he'd just laugh at us, you know what I mean? So then these lasses decided, they said to us, "Why did you go to Hacienda?" They'd been to Hacienda a couple of times. So why did you go to Hacienda? So we said, "Oh, fuck that." I says, "We'll get napped." I mean, we were still going through that football mentality, you know what I mean? Leeds against Man United, Leeds against
yeah,
City.
because they hated each other, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah, and it was that anyway. Going to a different town there'd always be carrying on.
Yeah,
I mean, we were used to 10 pints before this, and a fight ended at night. A kebab and a fight, you know what I mean? That's how it had been.
yeah,
So anyway, one night we went to Hacienda. We ended up going about it was a Saturday night. So we went to the Hacienda on a Saturday, and I think it was Dave Aslan on the decks.
yeah,
Anyway, we dropped this pill, and I think it was in a pub. I think was it the Roundhouse or something like that. There was a pub called
City Road in opposite.
No, there was a pub called the Roundhouse or something.
Yeah.
And it was just up the road from the Hacienda. There was the venue next to the Hacienda, and then there was a pub called the Roundhouse, full of students.
Yeah.
So we dropped these pills in there. And these pills were California Sunrises. They were 25 quid a piece, like I say. So I mean, it was fantastic, these pills. So the first time we walked in the Hacienda, we walked in, and we dropped this pill, and we got taken on a tour by these girls, and as soon as we got taken, the pill hit. So the pills hit us when we were on the stage, and next thing was the rushes had come down my eyes, down my face, and I'm getting taken on this tour, and how I didn't fall over, I don't know. I walked down the steps of the stage, and then they took me all around down the gate straight?
Yeah.
Gate straight down there, and I'm just walking around blind. I mean, the rushes were unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never had anything like it. And then they took us upstairs where the DJ booth is and just took us a little tour around Hacienda.
Yeah.
And then I remember everybody dancing, and we'd never seen people on one properly. You know, this was a proper club. We'd never been to a club like that. And this was a proper club. And Dave Aslan was playing stuff like Disco Inferno by the Tramps.
Yeah.
And also playing Acid Thunder by Fast Eddie, and playing the dance by Rhythm is Rhythm, the Sound, Reese and Santonio, just mixing it all in, Sister Sledge, all them sort of tunes. It was like a mixture of funk and house, but he did it right, you know what I mean? He did it right.
Yeah.
And then that was that for a few weeks. I thought we was just going to go the once. And next thing, after that, we was just like that. When we going next week? When we going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we went there for a few weeks, and we went there on a Saturday night, and I wasn't aware of the Friday night, Good night. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
So we've come out of the Hacienda on this Saturday night, and there was all these billboards, these posters outside down Whitworth Street saying Acid House Party, Sweaty Out.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, sweat. So we came out of the Hacienda about 2 o'clock and thought, we'll try and find this acid party. Couldn't find it because we didn't know where we were in Manchester. We didn't have a clue where we were. So we drove in around about an hour, probably half an hour, trying to find this acid party. It was on Store Street. Anyway, we ended up pulling outside the Midland Hotel in Manchester and asking this kid, and this kid looked like he were off his head. He said, I know where it is, I'll take you. So he's jumped in this Mini with me, my mate, and 2 girls, and he's took us to exactly where it was.
Yeah.
And then we paid a £5 in, and we've gone in there, and honestly, that was the most, out of all the acid parties I ever went to, and this was the first one, that was the best one. I went to all the ones in Blackburn in '89, and all in the drafting warehouses, you know, no live show and that. But this one was unbelievable.
I watched the footage you sent on that YouTube.
Yes, did you watch that? Did you?
Yeah.
So that was just like a short clip of it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was unbelievable. So Mike Pickering was on the decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we left there. I think we came out of there about 7 in the morning. Yeah, and I was always chasing that Sweaty Out, because that was the best one I ever went to. And anybody you'll ever speak to who went there, I think he interviewed Tintin last week. He said he went there.
Yeah.
And that was the acid party of all acid parties. That was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it became like a way of life, didn't it? Like once you got on it, then you just like, you became a clubber, didn't you?
Well, that was it. You didn't think it was you just changed your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The music and Ecstasy, it all came together all at once.
How did you meet Jeff?
So me and my mate went back to Leeds, and there was, I think the Hacienda were doing a tour. It must have been doing a tour of the country. And there was all posters up in the warehouse in Leeds saying Hacienda tour or whatever. Mike Pickering's going to DJ for Thursday night. Round about that same time as Sweaty Out. And so me and my mate obviously went. I don't think we had any pills. We just went anyway. And there was a coach full of Manchester. There was nobody from Leeds turned up because Leeds just wasn't into it at all. Probably 10 people. But the one drum takers. I think they were just curious of what acid house music was. So there were a coach full of Manchester lads. Jeff the Chef, Chris Goodwin, Johnny's brother. I think there were an Asian lad called Aslan. He used to knock about a lot. He used to go mad to Yeki Yeki. Remember that song, Yeki Yeki?
Yeah. Forgot about that,
Yeah, I remember Yeki Yeki used to come on. I used to see him all the time, and he used to just like shake his hands like that, and just go mad and shake his head when Yeki Yeki. Who else was there? Tony. We called him Tony Montana because he was a bit of a dealer. So we just went up to me and Gooey and said, God, we recognise you from Hacienda. He says, can you get us any pills?
Yeah.
So they said, yeah. So they had some pills, and Chris Goodwin was selling window panes out of a little tin, and he was selling trips out of a little tin.
They were really strong, weren't they?
The window panes were really strong, yeah. There was red ones and clear ones.
Yeah.
We ended up eventually, when we got into dealing and that, we used to colour them in with Dayglow pens, and we used to colour them in with Dayglow pens, and we called the orange ones orange orgasmatrons, and the green ones were green goddesses. So
it was just like a clear one, but you just coloured it.
It's clear, you just coloured them in, but we coloured them in with Dayglow pencils, like with bright luminous green. And I used to put them in a bag, because otherwise you'd lose your window pens all night long if you were getting them out of a tin. So I used to, I put each one in a bag, a little bag, in a little sealable bags. So you just put a window pen in the bag. But we saw the clear ones, and then one week we went out and I coloured all these with these Dayglow ones. And then we sold these. We said these are green goddesses and these are our orange orgasmatrons. And then the week after, we were trying to get rid of the clear ones, and we couldn't get rid of them because we hadn't coloured them in. They were going, no, we want them orange ones. We've had them clear ones before. We want them orange ones. And I was saying, no, they're exactly the same. They were going, no, they're not. We've had the coloured ones. We've had the clear ones. We said we want them orange ones or the green ones. But so we ended up. Jeff the Chef. We was young kids. We were 18-year-old. I think we were 19, I was 18, and they said, right, come over to Manchester and come to the City Road next week, and we'll get you sorted and get you in Hacienda and all that. Jeff, I think, had a little VIP pass or whatever.
Yeah.
And we went in there, and Friday we met him, and he got us in Hacienda. But this was a Friday. We'd never been on a Friday. We thought you couldn't get any better on a Saturday. That's how good it was. We couldn't get better than Saturday. And they went on the Friday, and it was just absolutely mental. It was, it was all the smiley faces, smiley face t-shirts, ease on the t-shirts, bandanas. There was playing Oochie Coochie, I don't know if you know, Baby Ford, Oochie Coochie.
Yeah.
And that sounded fantastic in there. Work it to the bone. And then we was just in there a bit, and then after that, we just ended up getting really pally with Jeff and his brother John, Chris Goodwin, Billy Caldwell, who now lives in New York. I've seen him recently. Tony, and we used to go back to their house in Salford for after parties. And we'd sit there, 6 and 7, playing the tapes. That they used to get the tapes from that night at the Hacienda.
So did they?
Yeah. So they go up to the DJ booth, because they were sorting the DJs out, you know what I mean? They were dealing to the DJs, so they'd get the tapes and they'd go to the DJ booth, and that night you'd be listening to that music, and you'd have it in that house that night, that tape. And
did anyone keep them?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what the story. So I've got the odds of acid tabs on it. So I said to this kid who had the tape, I think it was Derek, Billy's mate. He was one of the young governors, Man City young governors. I said to him, I'll give you an acid tab for that tape. He went, no. I said, no chance. I said, so as night went on, I said, I'll give you 5 trips for that tape. And he went, no. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. So in the morning, I said, I'll give you 10 trips if I can take that tape now.
Yeah.
So he thought about it. He went, all right then. He said, let me just tape it first. But I got the original. So he taped it and I got the original.
Yeah.
And it was that, and I don't know whatever happened to that tape, but so I brought it back to Leeds. And it just went around Leeds, that tape. It just went around Leeds. It must have been taped 200 times. Every house you went back to, you know what I mean? Everybody had that tape.
Yeah.
And it was all stuff like Good Life, Work It to the Bone, Bingo Bongo, all these tunes that were just massive at the time, you know what I mean?
It happened really fast, didn't it? It's like, I just noticed when you said before, like there wasn't really a scene in Leeds, was there, early on? But then what happened at the Hacienda on Friday happened really fast, and then it went to every city across the country, didn't it, eventually?
I think went to every city because everybody brought it back,
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
yeah,
So everybody went to the Hacienda, tried to recreate what was happening at the Hacienda.
yeah.
So, yeah, everybody went, you know, but then it was just me and Gooey at first, going over there. By 89, I would say we went there 88 till probably Christmas without anybody coming over from Leeds. Nobody would go over. And I used to get, and what I started doing on Friday night, I'd get the train over. A few of the lads wanted some pills. I ended up talking them into it. I said, I've got to have these pills. It's unbelievable. They were taking speed and they were taking window panes and all that, but they wouldn't have an E. I said, well, maybe it was because of the price. It was only £5. Yeah. But I was saying, fucking hell, they're worth it. They don't, you know what I mean? It's just fucking worth it. You've got to have one. So what I used to do is, I ended up meeting another kid called Peter from Warrington. So I used to get the train over about 7 o'clock from Leeds to Victoria. Meet this kid outside, buy the pills off him, about 15 pills, and then bring them back, and just managed to get in the warehouse for 10 o'clock to dish them out to lads. And then all the lads got into it then slowly. Next thing, there was about 30 of us taking them. And then everybody started, so we want to go to Hacienda. So we started going over on a Wednesday night for some reason. I think Wednesday nights we started going.
Wednesday night was amazing.
Wednesday, yeah, we missed the hot nights. We missed the hot nights.
Yeah.
It was just after the summer, you see, we went. So I think it was Void. I think it was called Void.
That's why you probably, when we had a chat the other day,
yeah,
you said, I remember you somewhere. I did used to go in Void a lot.
Yeah, did you? Yeah, well, I straight away recognised your face. Even when you did the first interview with Jeff, I recognised your face. I mean, we've all changed a bit. You've kept on to your hair, so I'm unrecognisable now.
I've got a mullet as well.
Oh yeah, you got that, yeah. So I could just about grow a pair of curtains before I lost my hair. You know what I mean? I'm like Julius Caesar. I could just have a little pair like that. So yeah, so we started going over there, but because we was only young, there might only be one person who had a car or had his license, and there was 10 kids wanting to go. So I remember one night, it was a Wednesday night, and we drew short straws. We drew straws, but we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And we sat in this cafe in Leeds. It was a Wednesday night. There was 10 of us that wanted to go. There was only like 5 spaces in this car. I'd already been, and anyway, I didn't get the straw. I got the short straw, and oops, I'm sorry, this is falling over. I got the short straw, and about 5 of us did. So they went to the Hacienda for the first time on a Wednesday night. They came back, and they just couldn't stop talking about it, just like me and Gooey. Gooey had been doing 6 months earlier. And then by early 89, there must have been 50 lads going up to Hacienda. 50.
That's amazing. Do you know, like, what I think?
And lasses, maybe more. We just got making their own way there.
Do you know what I think's amazing? That it's like, it would have been City and Leeds, wasn't it? Like, fighting each other in, like, 88.
Well, it was. I mean, 6 months earlier, I'd been arrested for waiting for young governors outside Leeds train station.
And that pill changed it, didn't it?
So, well, yeah. I mean, 6 months later, we was like waiting for the young governors outside train station in Leeds, and I got arrested. And just when the acid house started, I got community service, and I got 200 hours community service. So what I'd have to do, I got it, and I'd have to go to the Hacienda. I'd go to the Hacienda, then go to the kitchens, and then get them when the trains came on. The kitchens, the after hours in Newton. I'd go there, and then I'd walk into Manchester, which is about a 1.5 mile walk. Then get the train, falling asleep on the train, get woke up by the guard wanting his tickets. And then I'd go straight to the town hall of Leeds and have to do my community service. Now thinking, what the fuck have I done? You know what I mean? It's all love and peace now. And I was just a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? I just couldn't believe it.
It changed because I was saying this today, that there was a culture. It was always like a bear, get pissed and have a fight culture in Manchester.
Yeah, it's the same as in Leeds, yeah.
Yeah. And then that pill just seemed to change it all within weeks, didn't it, really? Like, it
changed it overnight. I mean, you got one of them pills and you just didn't want to fight again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were thinking, what fucking hell? Well, I mean, you hear these stories about, and it was kind of the football lads who got into it first as well.
Yeah.
I think it, you know, it's always kids who knock about the cities and towns. You know what I mean? I think it was the same in Manchester. There were a few football lads in the Hacienda. There was Jeff's brother John. He was into it, and he was a main football lad at United.
Yeah.
All the we was the ones. We was the football lads, and we got into it first. I remember the Blackpool lads that we met. There was football lads. A lot of the lads that we met from Stoke. There was part of the naughty 40. They used to go to Hacienda. The Middlesbrough lads, they were all football hooligans, but it just we all got on. Everybody got on, didn't they?
And then it went, like you said before, it went to other cities where it went to Stoke, didn't it? Like Shelley's was good for a while on it. Sasha started. I think that.
I mean, yeah, I think it was that 1990. So we used to go and see Sasha in Blackpool.
Yeah.
In Blackpool, it might have been Shaboos or something like that. I think he used to do it. Thursday night, he used to do it. So we used to go over there. That was either late 89 or 90. I think that was probably 90 when Sasha started going up there doing that.
Do you know what I'm just thinking as well? Like, some of the best nights were midweek. Normally, midweek nights are just for student nights, aren't they? Like, how special is that? Where, like, your main night, where you would get pilled up or drop acid or and you do that on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd work the next day, wouldn't you?
Well, we packed in work. Well, I packed in work. You know what I mean? I was doing it. We was going to Hacienda on a Wednesday. We was going to Hacienda on a Friday. We was going to Hacienda on a Saturday, or a bit later we'd go to the Thunderdome on a Saturday.
Yeah.
The Thunderdome, remember the Thunderdome opening? I think it opened in January '89.
Yeah.
We went there the first night with Jam MCs, and you couldn't go to work. You had to pack your jobs in. You know what I mean? That's why we had to sell. We all started selling drugs. Yeah. Because we were never drug dealers, but we just started. We had to pay for his nights out, didn't we? We had to pay for his nights out, and we started to make a little bit on the side, selling pills and stuff like that. So, and that's what we ended up doing, selling 20 or 30 pills in Hacienda on a Friday night.
I bet you made a killing with that, didn't you?
No, we didn't make any money to say true, but you were always in debt. You were always in debt. I mean, we used to get them off Jeff.
Yeah.
And I think there were, I don't know, there might have been 11 or 12 quid. No, I think if you bought 100, you got them for 11 quid each. Yeah. I could never get over a grand together. You know what I mean? So I think we met Tony, which was Jeff's mate. And then we got him laid on. Remember what laid on? That was the same from the 80s, laid on. When you got your gear, you didn't have to pay for it until you sold it.
Yeah.
And we met Tony. So Tony started selling. We were selling these for Tony in there. Only sorting him out, your mates, selling to your mates and stuff like that. Maybe 20 or 30 pills a night. We were selling him for, well, the price dropped to 20 quid. 20 quid. And then Gooey, my mate, dropped he's put the price down to 15 quid overnight. So the price dropped in the Hacienda overnight down to Gooey. And I was like, we're losing a fiver there. What are you doing that for? But I don't know why I did it. And everybody was going mad. John, Jeff the chef, everybody was saying, we're losing a fiver. What are you doing that for? Yeah. So then next thing, we were selling for Tony. And he says, right, so I'm getting him off a fella called Paul Massey now. Yeah. He says, and I'd never heard of Paul Massey. He said, well, he's Mr. Manchester. He says, we're getting him off him. So I said, all right. And he says, well, he wants to meet you. So there was me and Adi, and another lad called Adi, who was just selling for Tony. Yeah. Jeff the chef had his own thing going on, and Jeff and John had their own thing going on. Everybody had their own little thing going on. But for some reason, Tony knew Paul Massey, and he said he wanted to meet us one Friday night. He wanted to know who was selling for him. So we walked. So Tony came and got us about 11 o'clock one night in Hacienda, just before we got off his head. And we walked out, and we had to meet him. Do you know where the city road is opposite the Hacienda?
Yeah.
We had to meet him down that road. So we met him about 200 yards down that road, because obviously we're too hot. And we met him there. I shook his hand, and he just wanted to know who we were. And we were from Leeds. He was from Doncaster. I think he just wanted us to let us know, don't rip him off. Yeah. I think that was the only time I met him. And for the next few weeks, we were selling for him, selling LEDs for him. So we go back to Tony's house after the Hacienda, and he'd be knocking on the door in the morning. We would still be off his heads, and he'd be knocking on his door, wanting his money at 9 o'clock. So we turned the mute. We'd have these tapes on. We turned the Tony, pop masses at the door. So we turned the music down, and we just all sit there really quietly until he'd gone. And then we'd all have to fucking. Then obviously we'd all start again when he'd gone. But then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he'd be there again knocking on the door. I mean, he didn't give you much time to get your money in and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that when that started, I started thinking, this is getting a bit heavy. This, you know what I mean? Gangsters and shit like that. So so one night he started making. He must have been making them himself, Paul Massey. And we took a bag. I got a bag full of bees, and went in Hacienda, selling a few pills. And I've been in there about an hour. They've been in my pocket, and they all just turned to mush. And we just had a big bag of wet powder. So they must have been making it themselves. Yeah. So next morning, Tony says, "Have you got the money for him?" I said, "Well, I've just got a big bag of mush." He said, "What do you want?" He said, "You can't have this." I said, "I've got a big bag of mush, Tony." I said, he said, "What he wants his money." I think I owed him 400 quid. So I'm not paying that. I'm not giving him his money. They're not even pills. Yeah. So he started getting on top. And after that night, I never went back. I thought, I'm not going over again. I've started to owe Gangsters 400, 500 quid. And I thought, I'm not going over there anymore. So that was me with the Hacienda. Yeah. Jeff had just been nicked. He'd got 5 years. Everybody was getting nicked. And I thought it was time to stop going over there. It was just getting too heavy. And I think we just got out of there just at the right time, say too. Because just after that, that's when it really started. All the Salford lot started going in. It felt dangerous in there. Well, I never went in then, but I heard all the stories. I didn't step foot in Hacienda after 1989. So, like, when you say all the stories, like, I totally agree there. So, it was all exciting, and all the stories were about, oh, had this pill, had this mad night out, where else, da da da. And then it became more gangster talk, didn't it? I thought, I think a lot of people will agree by 91 it was probably finished, wasn't it? I mean, well, definitely, I think in Hacienda. I mean, I think I heard all these stories. That conspiracy over in Manchester and people getting mugged. I heard about all these bouncers and they were charging people to get out. They weren't just charging people to get in, they were charging people to get out. So they were just taxing young ravers to get out and just taking liberties. I think Manchester was finished by then. I think, you know what I mean? There's a night of conspiracy, I've just remembered, and we brought some mates down from Nottingham. So we used to go up to Cool Cats, and then we'd bring them to the Hacienda. And then one night, half their crowd got in. Was that Nottingham Cool Cats? Yeah. Half their crowd got in the house, and then half of them got turned away. And then the half that got in said, "Fuck that, we're staying in here." So the other half went to the conspiracy. And then we were waiting hours for them, like, to come back. And what had happened was someone had been stabbed, and then they were searching everyone coming out. And I think they found something like 50 knives or something ridiculous when people were leaving it. So who in the right mind would go out on a club night with a knife? Exactly. I mean, just what about that? I mean, the welcome I got in Manchester when me and Gooey went to Manchester was just, you know what I mean? We couldn't have got a better welcome. And everybody got on, and everybody was friendly. I don't think in the whole year and a half, we went to Hacienda, didn't see one fight. Didn't see one fight until all them dickheads got involved. Gangsters and all that shit. You had a record shop, didn't you? I had a record shop in Leeds. So when I stopped going over to Hacienda, I used to be well into my records. Yeah. I've been to house music since '86. It didn't all come together until '88, did it? You know, when it all came together, the Ecstasy and the house music all together. But I've been buying my house sound of Chicago and all the Kenny Jammy Jason and Fast Eddie, Can You Dance, and Nitro Deluxe, this Brutal House and all that. Where did you buy it from? You could just get it from HMV at that time. They had little sections, you know. I mean, the dance section there was like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. JM Silk, what was it, JM Silk? I Can't Turn Around. And I had a little bit of a collection. By 1989, I had a half decent, probably a couple of hundred records, which was enough to do a night. And I was doing bedroom mixing. I had bought myself a pair of decks, and I was doing bedroom mixing, knocking tapes out. So Tony Hammond, he ended up doing Chaos and Soak, Up Your Ronson. What else did he do? He did loads of nights with Sasha, Park, Pickering, Steve Williams, and that. But the first one he did was in 1989. It was called Lost in Space. He did it. So there were 3 lads that did it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just off the M62 where I live, and they put in a field, farmers field, big tent. They got Steve Williams to DJ in his big tent, and they had an 8-foot polystyrene knee. Big box. One of the lads worked in one of the lads, Martin, but they called him Eddie L.
Yeah.
He worked in a polystyrene factory or something like that, or he managed a polystyrene company. So he carved a big 8-foot out. Anyway, I think they just wait. The coppers just waited to get it to get going, and then it got busted, and it got absolutely busted. And we've never seen so many coppers in that. So we just turned up from Hacienda. So we came out of the Hacienda, we got there, and the police was all down this road. Everybody was throwing the drugs out the window. Just on this path, it was a farmer's field, farmer's track. So everybody was throwing the drugs out. That got busted. So Tony says to me, he says, I've got a night in Leeds. He says, do you want to DJ? I had a club, the Pleasure Rooms downstairs, and
I went there.
Yeah, go there.
Yeah.
So that was at the gallery, was the Pleasure Rooms.
Yeah.
But underneath there was a little club called Ricky's. It was all owned by this bloke called Paul Lamont. There were like 3 clubs in one. So I said, yeah, I'll do it, Tony. Yeah. So anyway, I've got there. It was a Thursday night, and I've set my decks up. Put my first tune on. But I was still dealing at this time. So I put the tune on, put the record on. And I was selling this club started filling up, so I sold an E to this kid. And the bouncer seen me straight away. I didn't have my wits about me. I don't know why, but I didn't have my wits about me. And the bouncer seen me, so he's come with me. So he's took me upstairs, took me in the back room with these other bouncers. They've got me in the room with the manager. They said, what do you think you're doing? So they opened the bag. I said, what do you think you're doing? Selling coke in here? I said, it's not coke, it's ecstasy. So next thing, he said, what are you doing selling ecstasy in here? I said, well, it's a fucking acid house night. What do you expect? You know what I mean? So next thing, they've got me, they're choking me, got me bag full, they're roughing me up. And this is what do you want? Do you want the worst beat in your life, or do you want to go to coppers? So 20 pills in them days, you were looking at 4 years, weren't you?
Yeah.
Maybe even now, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take the beating. So just about to start knocking me, Tony, the lad who was running the night, he came running the doors saying, leave him to the manager. He said, he's one of lads, he's DJ and that, you know what I mean? Leave him. So they ended up putting me down the stairs and leaving me, really. Basically, put the stairs in a pile. And that was the end of my chaos. That was the first ever chaos night in Leeds.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go back in the club then. I couldn't go back in the club. So then Tony went on to do other things, Chaos and all that, and he had Steve Williams and went on to Sasha Pickering, and I think even massive names like Dave Morales. I opened a record shop called Tracks in Leeds.
Yeah.
Just on the outskirts of town. And yeah, it was all right for a bit. But the only thing is the markup on records. Imports would cost you £3.50 plus VAT,
yeah.
which is obviously £4. Everybody was a DJ or your mate. So you were selling records at a £5. Everybody wanted a DJ discount. So you made £1 on a record, basically. The markup was shit. I had no business acumen. I had no... I didn't save my money for my bills and things like that. You know what I mean? When bills came in, I never had any money. So I lasted about 2 years. And the most memorable moment is ringing up DJ International. I remember trying to get some rare records.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was DJ International and Tracks and Transmat. There was the main labels at the time.
Yeah, I forgot about Transmat, yeah.
Transmat and Metroplex and all this.
Yeah.
So I ran this the number at the bottom of DJ International Records, you know, on the record on the 12-inch, and I got through to this bloke called Benji Espanosa, and I got talking to him, and he started telling me that he was Fast Eddie's manager.
Wow.
And I was buzzing. I was like, Fast Eddie. This is why have you heard of him? Of course, I've heard of him. We're into him. You know, he was the hip house man at the time. Him and Tyree Cooper. So, and he was so happy. He was as chuffed that I was ringing him. That, you know, he was so chuffed. So the DJ International wasn't just a record label; it was a shop as well.
Yeah.
So I said, what's all your rare obscurities, your white labels? Can you send me them? So he went up and down the racks, and he was so surprised that I knew all the records. So he was digging stuff out from old Transmat stuff, Metroplex, all the old Juan Atkins labels, blue vinyls, red vinyls, so really rare stuff. Then he started saying, "Well, you got a club, Sean?" I said, "Yeah, I did do. I went to the Hacienda." So he started telling me that he did he went over there in 1987 with the DJ International Chicago House Tour.
Yeah.
And he went in 87 and he brought over Adonis, Marshall Jefferson, Kevin Irving, Frankie Knuckles, and they did a live PA on the stage at the Hacienda.
Wow, I'd love to have seen that.
Yeah, and he says, I met Mike Pickering, I met Mike Pickering, I met the guys from New Order. He says, I met another popular DJ, I think his name was Graham Park. And I said, yeah, they were the nights I used to go to. And he was buzzing. He was absolutely buzzing. You know what I mean? I don't think that anybody ever thought to ring DJ International from England. There must have been some people, obviously.
I didn't know it was a shop.
Say it again. I didn't know
it was a shop. Yeah.
No. So he spent an hour. I mean, my dad went mad. I was on the phone when I got home from work. So I'm on the phone using my dad's landline. When my dad got his bill, I think I spent about 50 quid on the phone.
That'd be international, right? Wasn't it? Yeah.
It was international rate in them days. So, so when you used to have to take your phone and take it through door and sit on the stairs, you remember when you used to have to do that?
Yeah.
And take the lock off that your dad had put on the phone, take the lock off, find the key that your dad used to put on the dial tones. So anyway, we sold these, he sent these records over, all these Chicago rare records, Detroit rare records, and I had an auction. I told everybody who were coming when they were arriving, and all the DJs turned up in the shop. Best mates were arguing, nearly fighting, coming to blows over records. I mean, I was getting like 30 and 40 quid for one record. It was just, it was rather like a little auction in the shop.
Yeah.
All the Detroit stuff, like I say, Chicago stuff, stuff on Hot Mix 5. Just really rare records. Yeah. But yeah, sadly in 1992 I had to close it. It wasn't, I think there was a bit of a recession going on there as well. And Saturdays became like Thursdays and Wednesdays. It just really dropped off. So
young people don't get to experience, just listening to you then, young people don't get to experience the love of records that we had.
Yeah. So
on Spotify in it for them. And then
that's it. I mean, the reason why I opened that record shop, I was going to Eastern Bloc regularly. No, every week.
Yeah.
Every week. And just that shop was fun. I don't think I've been to a better record shop than that. I used to go spinning, which was all right. But Eastern Bloc was brilliant. And just going through the vinyl, and they had all these, you know, you go in there. I used to go in there with the tape from Hacienda. They put the tape on, and sometimes you might get Drop Lucky and Steve Williams with there. And I'd say, I'll put my Walkman on. I put the tape in the Walkman and say, "Do you know any of these, Steve?" And eventually I ended up getting to know Steve. You remember Steve Williams, the DJ?
Yeah.
So I ended up getting to know him, and I think he packed in DJing. He packed in about, I think it must be 1990, 91.
Yeah.
And I went to his house. I went to his flat in Newham and bought a load of his stuff up him. I remember buying Ride the Rhythm by Marshall Jefferson. Loads of stuff. Me and Mark and Farrah and a couple of DJs went. And he was all disillusioned with the scene at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my shop, and then I ended up closing it down.
I carried on. Just so I never really grew up really. A lot of people would say that Hacienda went down in 91. But I had some of my maddish years from like 93 onwards. I just carried on till about 99, and then
I carried on, but just not in Manchester, if you know what I mean. But it wasn't as crazy. My craziest years was 88, 89.
Yeah.
And probably 90 when Steve Leeds used to DJ them Chaos Nights. I think he did once a month from that, but and they was fantastic. And he was a great DJ. And then by I think 91, I was burnt out. I don't think I had any brain cells left by 91, or no serotonin left in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think did Hacienda close at 95 or it? Or 97?
I'm just trying to think now. I think you're probably right there. Yeah, because
I think it was 95 and 97. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because 96 was more about indie bands, wasn't it? And Oasis were massive, weren't they? And
yeah, I was never into all that scene. Yeah, never into all that scene. But
no, I think you probably 95 and 96. It probably shut down, and it got better towards the end. I thought though.
Did it?
Yeah, because they started to get local DJs again rather than big names. But then nothing lasts forever, does it?
No, nothing lasts forever, and that's it. And that's why I never go to these nights anymore. These Hacienda reunions. Yeah. I can't bring myself to go home. I mean, I remember that, like I said, when that first night when I met Jeff the Chef and all the Manchester lot, the night of the Hacienda, the Hacienda when they did the tour in Leeds, did the tour and we had the night in Leeds. There was like 50 people there. And now they do an Hacienda night once a year in Leeds, like an open air thing. 4,000 people turn up.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think you probably count that. I don't think any of them people who went to actually went to the Hacienda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's become like, I don't know, folklore. The Hacienda, and it's become like famous just on the name of it, really, and that's why it gets such a big turnout now.
I always aim for half an hour, and I think we've hit that now. I always try to end it with, give me a favourite track from your clubbing era, from your best days.
For my favourite, I mean, well, there'd have to be something that I listen to now.
Yeah.
And it's probably, I would say, when I'm in the kitchen now, I'm drinking wine now. After I'm off with you, after I'm off the thing with you, I'll probably have a little party for one.
Yeah.
And and I always put Neil Howard, The Gathering. Right?
Oh wow, yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Neil Howard, The Gathering. And I always put that on. It's just a simple track, but it's just fantastic. There's too many to mention. I love the dance Rhythm is Rhythm. That's one of my favourites.
That reminds me most of the Hacienda, that.
Yeah, that was a stop play from 88, 89. I mean, I didn't go after then, but there were certain tunes that just lasted for a whole year or two, didn't they? Obviously, the more famous one, Streams of Santana, and that lasted 88, 89.
Yeah.
But the dance, It Is What It Is, Rhythm is Rhythm, that's one of my favourites. I still listen to that now. Yeah. The Beat Club, Security. But yeah, if it were going to be one, I'd probably say Neil Howard, The Gathering.
I'm going to listen to that.
Get it on now, The Gathering.
Oh, I'm just going to stop recording now. Thanks so much, Sean.
Yeah, no worries. Nice talking to you, Paul.
Yeah. Anyway.